waiting to see if I'm live yet. Okay, thanks Facebook. Okay, today we're talking about people pleasing, where it comes from, why we do it, and why it's so harmful. So, you've probably heard of um, the term fight or flight. Like, I'm in fight or flight mode. And what that's referring to is our fear responses. But we actually have four of them. There's fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. People pleasing is actually fawning. So when I talk about people pleasing for the rest of the video, I'm also going to be talking about fawning interchangeably. So what happens is when we're a child, we want to survive. We want to survive childhood, and our brain does this really quick scan of the environment and tries to figure out what's the best way to do that. And one of the ways that we do that is through fawning or people pleasing. So, evolution has taught us that we need our caregivers to like us in order to survive childhood. And so, when we have caregivers that are maybe emotionally unavailable or maybe not naturally very good caretakers, or maybe they're busy, maybe they've got a lot of other priorities, and we don't have all of the attention that we need, our brain is trying to get us more of that attention that we need in order to survive and to thrive. And it looks for the best way to get that. And so for some of us, that was fawn. For some of us, that was people pleasing. And so our brain, tried to figure out what's the best way to get this person to like me? What's the best way to get attention from this person? Whether that's a mom, a dad, a grandma, a grandpa, whoever was doing that caretaking for you, your brain was searching and noting and noticing. Oh, this makes her laugh. Oh, this makes him smile. Oh, this makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside and gets the attention that I need. And so when we don't have access to all of the attention that we need growing up, our brain is trying to help us get more of that. Unfortunately, in the process, we sometimes have to give up other wants and needs that we have. So we might make other, we might sort of abandon other needs that we have in order to keep pleasing that parent or caregiver in order to keep getting that attention. So maybe that means I don't complain. Maybe that means I go with the flow. Maybe that means I focus on taking care of their emotional needs instead of making my own a priority, because that's what helps that parent give us more of what we need. So that's what's happening in a nutshell. If you've found yourself in a place where you are constantly people pleasing in order to keep yourself in that person's good graces, that's sort of why that's happening. But we can feel really frustrated about that. Sometimes we can feel like we're not being genuine. Sometimes we can be frustrated ourselves after the fact, and we think, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I, why am I bending over backwards for this person when they're really not showing up for me in a meaningful way? And if you keep following this pattern, you might have found yourself in a relationship where you're the one giving all the time, or you are feeling unappreciated, or you are, or maybe it feels like you have found a friend group that really doesn't, care much about you, but you are constantly overgiving. So we learn these patterns in childhood, but then we keep using those same patterns in order to continue to get our needs met. And the problem is when we learn dysfunctional patterns in order to survive childhood, we bring those dysfunctional patterns into our adult relationships. And you might be people pleasing when it comes to your kids, right? So if you learned how to regulate, how to keep your emotions in check by paying attention to how happy your caregivers were, then it might be really hard for you to say no to your kids. When they're having a meltdown, when they're really struggling and they're crying, it might be really easy for you to just give in and get them what they want. And maybe they have become a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not overbearing, but sometimes when kids get what they want too much, they can sort of just become ungrateful and be really grumpy and be nothing can sort of please them, and we can then be in a relationship with our own child where we're frustrated with a dynamic, and maybe we don't know how to fix it. So there are so many different things that can happen as a result, but at the end of the day, what you're going to end up feeling like if you've developed this pattern is feeling unfulfilled in your relationships, feeling like you can't say no, feeling like you're bending over backwards in order to please everybody else and not getting any of your own needs met. If that sounds like you might really struggle with a pattern of people pleasing. Now, what do we actually do about it? When we have a pattern of people pleasing, we need to first get in touch with our own needs and our own desires and our own boundaries, because often it means that we're sacrificing our own needs and boundaries for the sake of somebody else's happiness. So the first thing we need to do is get to know ourselves a little bit more and figure out, what do I want? What do I need? Where am I currently abandoning my own needs and my own boundaries in order to please somebody else? And then there's going to be this journey of working on healing your relationship to yourself and working on actually listening to that child, that inner child inside of you that's saying, wait a second, I still have needs. Wait a second, why are you abandoning me? There's this inner child in all of us that still continues to talk to us through our emotions, through our body. And when we have been asking that child to stuff their own needs down in order to make so-and-so like you, or in order to keep so-and-so in your life, we're abandoning ourselves. We're abandoning that inner child. And so we're going to have some work to do in order to start rebuilding that relationship with our inner child and become the parent for ourselves that we needed as a child. We do that through several different things, but one of the first skills that we'll start working on is reflective listening, because in order to get our needs met, we need to know what they are, and that means listening to self. And then through a tool I call reparenting. So we have a lot of free resources in this group on both reflective listening and reparenting. If this sounds like you, put something in the comment. You could put people pleasing in the comments, or you could put a help in the comments, whatever you want to put in the comments to let us know that you actually need some help with this. And I'll have Christina reach out to you with some of our free resources. I will let you know that most people probably need some hands-on help in order to start working on healing this wound. We accumulate our wounds in relationship, and we heal our wounds in relationship. And oftentimes people need somebody who's going to model for them that healing work, and model for them how to talk to self, what kind of things we need to say to ourselves. And most of the time people need some accountability in order to make significant progress. Some people can go through all these videos and read a ton of books and learn how to practice those tools on their own. But I've found that most people need somebody to kind of do that work with them. So if you think that you're ready to get to that next step and start working on healing some of these wounds so that you can have better relationships, have more fulfilled relationships, start being able to have some boundaries with the people that you care about, and you're ready to sort of take on that growth journey, let us know. You can also put that in the comments. You can also DM me and let me know. You can private message Christina, let her know, and we will start guiding you toward the right next steps for you. There's so much more. There's so much more I could talk about on this topic, but I try and keep these videos sort of bite-sized so that you can come back and learn a little bit more week by week. So if you have any questions, put those in the comments. I'm probably going to take some time to dive into the other 3 fear responses that we didn't have a chance to talk about today, because those have their own pitfalls and their own challenges that we want to talk in more depth. Anyway, I hope you're having a great week. I hope you take care of yourself and be gentle to yourself. This is we're all navigating our own journeys, and you you deserved your needs to be met as a child. If you have found yourself people pleasing because you had to, you know, bend over backwards in order to get your needs met, I'm so sorry. That is not what you deserved, and you deserve relationships where you're so completely fulfilled. You deserve relationships where you don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to mold yourself into something to please somebody else. And chances are you're still doing that in order to get your needs met, and you shouldn't have to do that. It takes practice to figure out what it is that you need and start saying no to relationships and start saying no to patterns that keep you stuck there. But it absolutely is possible. You can do it, and it would be my honor to help you learn the skills you need in order to start having the relationships in which you do get your needs met. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon, and see you next week. Bye-bye.